Are we live or are we in Memorex?
Carrie, nobody's going to get that.
Hey, I got it. That's all that matters.
You're on. Hey, this is Scott Lobdell, this here from every angle. And you are listening to Splash Page. Is that right?
Is the one obvious thing.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You are watching Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an amazing show scheduled for you as always. And with us, we'll kick it on over to Carrie. How's it going?
Going pretty good. Me and the drunken squirrel behind the keyboard are having a fancy night tonight. It is his Disaronno almond liqueur, and I've got my 2-buck Chuck wine going on. But yeah, I would like to show off. I've got a shirt on here that you can get for yourself on Comics Paradox. You should check it out. It's a Superman shirt. It's super. But enough about me. Let's talk about Drew.
Mr. Drew.
Oh, hey, everybody. It's Tuesday, and you're here, so thank you. You could be anywhere else, but you're here. Yeah, we have a fantastic show for you. We have a guest that I can say is just fantastic. I met him once, still great a moment. If you read comics in the 90s, you probably read something X-Men related that he did. But it's not just X-Men. He worked Daredevil, Alpha Flight, The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, Iron Man, Fantastic Four, just a bunch. Galaxy Quest, Ghostbusters, Displaced Aggression, a ton of stuff for DC, like Red Hood and the Outlaws, Teen Titans. And if you love the movie Happy Death Day, you can tell him all about it because he wrote the script for it. Everybody, the one, the only, the bespectacled, and still good-humored, Mr. Scott Lobdell.
Woo.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Yay. Yay. Drew, now you got me wondering, where did we meet?
We were at, it was New Jersey Comic Fest in 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You look great.
Oh, it was a beautiful con. Yeah, and I'm, as you can tell, I'm a Ghostbusters fan. And Displaced Aggression was the second Ghostbusters comic I'd ever owned, and absolutely loved it. Couldn't wait, and having you sign it, having already met your frequent collaborator Elias Krasinski, it was just so great. And thank you again. I mean, I bagged and boarded them, had them ready. So thank you again. It really meant a lot.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You look just like you did 10 years ago. It's crazy.
I,
You haven't changed today.
Yeah, you know what? You're looking fantastic as well. I mean, happy death day to you.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. I've gotten older.
Never said that.
Age is just a number.
Yeah, exactly. It's just math, and math is awful. So let's just ignore it. But Leo, I think you wanted to start this time instead of me and Carrie.
Well, Scott, one thing we like to do is, we like to learn about our guests. It's, I see a lot of shows where it's just like question after question after question. We try to be more informal, and we want to get to know you. So why don't you start it off? Like, how did you get into comics? And what was the first comic that you read as a kid?
I mostly got into comic books because I was 16, 17, and 18. And I hadn't really read comic books until then, but my lung kept collapsing, and I kept having to be rushed to the hospital, and I would be there for weeks at a time, because at the time a collapsed lung was a big deal. I don't think it's as big a deal anymore with treatments and stuff. But people would bring me comic books all the time, and I was like, huh. And so the very first time I read them, I didn't, I'm not like no offense, I'm not like a Mark Waid or Kurt Busiek who could tell you, what Superman had for dinner in Adventure 123, and, who was over, and, how long Lex had to wait outside before Superman let him in. Like all those things that happen with, people who are who come from comics and live and breathe comics. Because I came at it later in life, or later in my teen years, the very first time I looked at it, I was like, oh wow, like somebody has to do this. Like look, there's a writer's name, and there's artist, and what's a penciler, what's a letterer. And so to me, even the very first time I looked at comic books, I looked at it as as an art and as a construct, and how do you take all these elements and put them together and tell, often amazing stories. And so I think that that's when I started. That's when I noticed comic books. It was, I believe it was Bill Mantlo. It was I never tell anybody this. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. And it was, I believe it was written by Bill Mantlo and drawn by Al Milgrom. So, but it was with like Charlie 27 and, Yondo and Martin X when he was all shiny,
Right.
And that was fun. But then later on, the first real comic book I remember was Avengers 130, I believe it was 136, where the Beast wants to join the Avengers. And he shows up, he's dressed as Edward G. Robinson, and he's like, I want to be on your team. They're like, who are you? And he's like, I want to be an Avenger. And, then he pulled off the blue mask, and it was like, his breath of fresh airness, where, traditionally the Avengers were always like very, pretty rigid and pretty like, and here's a guy who comes like bouncing in, dressed as Edward G. Robinson, and doing imitations. And, it's like, I like this guy. I don't know who the hell he is, but I like him. So. And, back then, you guys may or may not remember, but, I think, not to be like a cranky old man, but I think one of the worst things that the publishers wound up doing is that, when I was a kid and I was reading comic books, you could pick up the first issue, and it was written like it was your first issue, and you could pick things up as you went. Now, every issue, there's a page of text, which I know when I'm a kid, there's nothing I like better than reading a big old wall of text before I dive into my adventure. I'm being sarcastic because it's like, like I just think, you only have 22 pages in the comic book, and the first page, as you guys can attest, since you're called splash pages, should be that moment of like, oh my God, okay. First the cover goes, what's going on in there, and then the splash page pulls you in, and you're in for the 22 pages. And
Right.
I think that we've lost, between these, what do you call them, narrative blurb pages, and also covers. There was a time, I think it was around when Marvel Knights started.
Mhm.
And until then, we were always like, okay, what's going on in the issue? That's what we need to express in the cover. You can get a little artsy sometimes, and but it was, the idea is just you should be able to look at a cover and know what the comic is about. And then around that time, marketing came down and said, if we just make them generic covers, then we can use all the covers for marketing, T-shirts and stuff. And that's when you saw every issue of Spider-Man Unlimited, every issue of every comic book suddenly started to become about an image that they could use elsewhere.
Mhm.
And we used to have this thing. Thank you, Squirrel. You agree with me. We used to have this wall in Marvel with all the comic books that were coming out in the next month or two. It's just all the covers, because the covers would come first in the issues. And it was,
Right.
you could always bump into an editor there, or a freelancer there, or some of the guys in the bullpen, because everybody was drawn to, oh, look what's going to, okay, well, Daredevil, that looks good. It's going to be the Purple Man, blah, blah, blah. And nowadays, it's like, you can go in the comic book store and see, Spider-Man looks like Amazing Spider-Man, looks like Peter Parker, looks like Spectacular. They're all that, it's Spider-Man jumping over an ambulance, it's Spider-Man lifting an ambulance, it's Spider-Man
Mhm.
hailing an ambulance. It's like, I think we lost a lot. And, like when you see a movie trailer, you don't have Clint Eastwood come out and sit in a chair and go, you should watch this movie. It's with me in it, and it's really good. You go, no, well, okay, what's the movie about? I want to know. I want to see some. I want to see some of it. So, and I think that, I wouldn't say it's a little thing. I think it's an actually a really big thing. But people are always grasping for why comic books don't sell as much, and I'm like, you don't really have to reach that far to figure it out. So, like, I'll give you one more example. You're like, well, why are you talking about this? I'll give you one other example. Is sometime around the explosion of internet sites, marketing was like, oh, you know what? We'll send them the 5 pages, and they'll get hooked on the first 5 pages, and then they'll run out and buy the comic book. And the two problems with that is that showing somebody the first 5 pages of a 25-page comic book would be like if you went into the movie theater and the trailer was 25 minutes long. You'd be like, I think I got everything, I mean, and then they come out and they go, hey, do you want to buy a ticket? And you're like, oh, no, I think I'm good. I get where this is going. And then the other thing is that there's comic books are ordered 3 months beforehand. So if by some chance you put out a 5-page preview, that everybody goes, oh my God, I need this book. And then they leave their keyboard for 5 minutes and they run into a comic book store, and the comic book store is like, oh, we sold out. Oh my God, you sold out. How many did you sell? Well, we bought 3 and we sold 3. And so it's like they don't understand that they don't remember that the key to the advertising is 3 months before, when the stores are ordering and people are putting out their pull list, and this looks interesting. I'm ready for that. Instead, they I mean, if a retailer only has so much money, so if they've sold out of 3 copies, they've had a good day, And if they order 30 copies and they sell out of 3 copies, they've had a terrible, terrible day. So, so that's just me rambling. You're like, can we cut out all this rambling?
No,
not at all. This is all awesome stuff. Yeah. I agree. Definitely, comics have, they've lost something. We talk about it a lot in the show. Is I think canon gets a little too wrapped up in things too, and definitely could interfere with some of the storylines. It's really not helpful for new readers to come in. Like if you're jumping into Batman and wondering like, where the hell's Alfred? I heard of Alfred, but he's been dead for like 2 years. It's but I ramble on that way too much.
Yeah.
What
Yeah, Carrie, go.
Oh, sorry. What are your feelings then? I live in Lincoln, Nebraska, and there are just a couple of small comic book shops here. They don't like you're saying, you don't order a whole lot of comics unless you have people that are putting it on their pulls ahead of time. And they don't order variant covers at all unless you're putting it on a pull. So now that they've started doing variant covers that have nothing to do with the comic book whatsoever, like it'll even be like there'll be comic book covers for Doctor Strange that have, like just there's no Doctor Strange related stuff on them at all. It's just like this set of comic book cover variants going on. What do you think about that?
It's hard because, some people get upset about cosplayers. I've heard there's a controversy a while back. One writer was like, we go to these conventions and it's all cosplayers. And, my feeling is that, people should like what they like, and that's great. There must be some kind of market for these, non-Doctor Strange comics. And I think in their heads, the marketers are like, anything we can do to increase the numbers, even if it doesn't make any sense. If people want to see, no offense, Scotty Young does gorgeous work, but if people want to see a Scotty Young Venom on a Doctor Strange cover, let's give it to them, And it's like, that's fine if you're trying to sell in that moment. But in terms of like long form, health of the books, and when you think about it, like your retailer only has so many dollars. So if Marvel puts out, 10 different covers for Venom, that money has to come from somewhere. So they're not gonna, do Great Lakes Avengers, or I don't even know if that's still around, but just as an example, like, there's only so many dollars, and, when they order something, they need to make sure that it is going to sell, or they just sit there with, a stock of, I remember going into Dungeons and Dragons when Superman Unlimited came out, and I think they did like 52 covers, and I walked in and they had like 52 covers on the rack, and meanwhile, that money had to come from somewhere, and that money came from the rest of the 52 books in the new 52, so everybody's numbers are going down and Superman's going up. And I asked the guy, I said, is that, you got every single cover, is that wise? He's like, oh yeah, they'll always sell. Number one, it's the number one, they'll always sell. I'm like, I didn't see him again, but I wondered what his career wound up being, because it probably was not in comic book ordering, but yeah. So
unless
I don't know.
Leo Pond was part of his market.
Yeah. Well, you bring one thing up, with my LCS, like they know I collect Lee Bermejo art, so whenever there's like a variant cover from Lee Bermejo, my LCS makes sure they orders a copy and sets one aside for me. I could see, like if somebody's a Scotty Young collector, which I agree, he does amazing art. It's definitely a lot of fun stuff, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I just wanted to get Lee.
Well, I mean, like I say, I agree that people should like what they want and they should have what they want. I do think one of the things, like, I talked to the head of DC once when I was there. She was a woman president, and we were talking at the start of the New 52 about what's it called? Oh, about binging. Like binging. We all binge. Everybody binge, loves to binge. I mean, I won't binge Game of Thrones because it's 100 episodes, and I can't justify taking 100 hours of my life to watch a show. But if I see a new show that's on and it's like, Fubar with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's, 8 episodes per season, and now I've watched the first 8, and so I'll watch the next 8. I can see that. But the point is that, Netflix did something that no one had done up until that point, which was everybody else were doing what was called lost leaders, where you would print. You would do a TV show, and you really didn't make your money back until issue 100, when it went into syndication, and then everything that aired was free, and so you had to spend, $1 million. Now it's way more, but you used to spend $1 million or $2 million just to keep your show on the air, so that you eventually had enough money to release it on syndication. That's where the real money was. Similarly, we have an issue in comic books where by the third issue you're losing. By the first issue you may be broken even, and not even now. But by the fourth issue you're broke. You're spending your money to print issue 4 and 5 and 6, so that now you have enough for a trade paperback, and that's where the real money is. That's where the syndication is, because now when you print it, you're not spending money because you've already spent the money on the comic books. And in the old days, you could spend enough that, if your numbers were high, in the old days, I don't know, if your book's selling 30,000 issues, you're doing well back then. Nowadays, it's like, you can get, who's selling that much. But having said that, Netflix was like, you know what, we're not going to worry about a lost leader. We just want people to watch our network. So we are going to hand you the first, 10 episodes, and read them at your leisure, have fun, or watch them at your leisure. Similarly, like what strikes me as interesting, because I talked to the people at DC at the time, I said, why don't we just put out some books, put out a Batman book, and everybody that orders Batman, everybody that orders, Superman, everybody that orders Wonder Woman gets a free Batman book. Or you order Batman #1, then you get Astonishing Batman 1 through 6, 1 through 5, or something. And they're like, well, then how would we make any money? I said, well, because they would be invested. You're reading the first 5 parts for free. Yeah, I know it's good. I've been enjoying it. I will buy issue 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. But they said, well, you don't understand, comic books are a lost leader. I said, yeah, but television was a lost leader. And then Netflix came and kicked everybody's ass. And everybody's like, what the hell just happened? I mean, I don't think they're doing as good as they were, but Marvel and DC could certainly afford to put out, an X-Men book for free, and just get, because what happens to me, I don't know if it happens to you, but what's happened to me in the past is I'll wander into a comic book store on a Wednesday, and I'll see a book, and I go, oh, that looks pretty good, and I'll look at it, and I'll buy it, and then I read it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good first issue. But I don't plan my life around the comic book store, so maybe I'm not there for another 2 months or 2.5 months, and I see, oh, issue 4 came. Yeah, I remember, I like that. Am I going to buy issue 2, 3, 4? No, but that first one, that was a good issue. Maybe I'll go through it and look and see okay, yeah, that's what happened. That's what I thought was going to happen. I think people are not used to. You guys can tell me differently, but people have been broken of that Wednesday habit, and to know that your book is going to be, Justice League of America. God bless Jeff Johns, but holy moly, did he, toss the idea of a monthly comic book schedule right out the window, and he was very, very, very popular, and that's great. He's a great guy, but I will say the idea of like, once we broke the audience of their monthly fix, I think it doesn't surprise me that they didn't come back, So, what about you guys? When do you go to your comic stores?
Sporadically.
I Kickstarter the hell out of things. I've been supporting a lot of indie stuff, so most of what I get physically has been coming through Kickstarter, and then when I can get to my store, I do, or I get digital stuff online because it's become cost prohibitive really lately to try to get anything. And that's why, yeah, I'm spending more probably on Kickstarter, but I'm also getting a bunch of little extra happy things to go with it, that I'm not going to get at my LCS. But I'm totally all about supporting my local comic book shop. Leo can do all the supporting of the comic books.
Everyone.
I've gone for digital and physical stuff from the smaller groups of folks these days. And then I subscribe to like the marvel.com and everything so I can read the older stuff there.
But you used to be an addict, right? Like the rest of us.
Oh yeah, I used to have to work extra hours. The restaurant that I worked at when I was in high school was like a parking lot away from my LCS there. And like when Rise of the Midnight, I started off on Ghost Rider, and when Rise of the Midnight Suns came out, that whole event, that was right when I was getting into everything. And I was putting in so many extra shifts so that I could get every single comic in the event. And the binging, because you're sitting there and you're like, I got to know what order everything goes in. So I got all these comics. I'm sitting in my big old bed in high school, with like in my room with all these comics spread out. And, you get the little footnote, read this one. So it's like, okay, I jump over here. Oh, I don't have that one yet. I got to make sure that John holds on to it for me so that, I can get it. And I totally missed Spawn. And so I've been there and been doing all this stuff.
But there was no, there were habits. We had habits, and now, I don't remember last time I was in a comic book store.
Yeah, I kind of agree because I feel like at one point I was buying so many. I mean, I was always a fan of comics when I was a kid, but I never really collected. And then it was like 2006. I was dealing with a breakup, and I don't know. I just motivated me to just get into things. And I'm such a completionist. I would want to collect all of it. So I just was just buying up all these comics and such and all this great stuff. I mean, around 2006, I discovered the Ultimate Universe, and that just blew my mind. So I collected all of that. And then I discovered Ghostbusters comics, and I was always a fan. And that's Scott, how I was, I read X-Men sporadically, so I'm very aware of your contributions to the X-Men. But I feel like at a point I was buying so many books, and these days I'm only buying like sporadic amount of books. I'm reading a few online now, but yeah, it's just not the same. Like, and I'm always telling Leo and Carrie and anyone in our network, that I feel like, certain comics were back in the day, I feel like they were a bit more creative and a bit more fresh, and it just captivated me a little bit more. I feel like now there's a lot of great stories out there, but to me, I feel like I've seen a lot already. So it just feels like I'm the same story, but with just a different coat of paint, like comics is like a car dealership. It's just the same car, but a different coat of paint.
And anytime a new writer comes on a book, a new writer comes on a book.
Mm-hmm. I feel like also sometimes like I always feel bad for new writers, especially when they come on after like a really acclaimed series, because they have those metaphorical big shoes to fill. And I also feel that sometimes some creators they just kind of scrape away, like just scrap whatever was done before. Like no, everything you've done, nope, clones, magic, parallel universes. And I'm just like in some ways I'm like, no, it's still there, but you're just doing something different. You shouldn't just spend your time on doing what somebody else did. But but in the end, I still love comics. I mean, I love introducing people to books. Like if someone would say, I want to get into comics, I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to read? Like, I got the keys right here. What's your fancy? Marvel, DC, X-Men, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. Like it's like the guy who would open up is like, hey, you want to buy this? I'm like, what comics do you want? Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse. Hey. So I think I've just come to a point where I just don't really focus on the negatives. I'm just like, if a book doesn't appeal to me, I'm not reading. No discredit to anyone who's reading it. I'm like, no, it didn't connect with me, but I'm glad it's connecting with you. So great. Let's talk. Let's talk about highlights. Let's talk about things we love. So,
there's a guy.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Well,
You're
there's a guy, Mark Grunwald, who used to be an editor at Marvel.
Yeah.
And one thing he stressed, because people would be like, oh, Frank Miller's Daredevil was amazing, and Bloodstone is a piece of crap. And he always said, every comic book is someone's favorite comic book. And I think it's true. And I used to go around to all the things, even when I was like at the height of my heightness. And I would say, hey, can I go over can I look at your fan mail? They'd be like, sure, go ahead. And I would look, and no offense to anybody, but I was not a big fan of, we'll just say a run of a particular book without being rude. And so I would go through it, and I was expecting people to be like, this is the worst piece of crap ever, to support my understanding that it was all a piece of crap. But then come to find out that they had fan mail, and they loved it, and they loved and this issue and that, and this character and that cover, and they loved it. And I'm like, okay, it's true. Like, what do any of us know? We know what we like. It's pretty much all we can, So
Yeah.
I mean, I found that a lot with Red Hood and the Outlaws. Had a lot of criticism over Red Hood and the Outlaws, but never in my life did I get as many people coming up to me going, "Oh my God, I really like Red Hood and the Outlaws." I'm like, okay, well, it's not a secret. Other people like it too. It's crazy. So.
Okay.
Sorry, just real quick. And I'm not trying to say that you're super dated or anything like that, because this is where I'm at too. Back before internet was such a big thing, when you're looking at people's fan mail and stuff. How many people now will just trash anything and do it anonymously or throw their name out there. But back when you actually had to take the time to write a letter and put a stamp on it and send it out, I'm assuming that there was just a lot more positive stuff that people got instead of having to deal with a lot of hate mail coming through. Or were people that
positive,
vindictive?
No, positive. Very, often thought-provoking. You go, they'd say, well, the thing about this issue I thought was interesting was, Aurora and Forge. Like you said that they broke up because they haven't really been together. But when you look at the times they were together, and it's like, oh yeah, okay. So it was like, a lot of people did put their thoughts on it. You had a lot of crayons too, and that's fine. You had a lot of, handwritten things that you had to try to figure out what they were spelling. But it was a lot different than my favorite internet post, which is Scott Lobdell causes cancer. I'm like, I don't know that I probably don't really cause cancer, do I? But it's one of those ones you can look up. Yeah, Scott Lobdell causes cancer. His writing is so bad, you'll get cancer from it. That's just, that's just nonsense. Like, we used to sit around and talk about, John Burns' Man of Steel, or John Burns, Legion of Superheroes. And you're like, okay, well, he came in with Man of Steel and he erased a bunch of history, but, that's what they hired him to do. And he came in and did it. And if you read those Man of Steel books as their own books, it was really, really good. But nobody was like, John Burns should burn in hell. That's all so much of that's what you see on the internet now. It's, it's crazy like that.
Well, something that I wanted to bring up, because I feel like you've talked so much about your X-Men work. My God, you contributed to some of the I guess, pivotal X-Men stories. But there was something that you posted that I actually didn't know about. I would love to discuss just briefly. Is that in tribute to the late great Peter David's passing? You mentioned the fatal attractions and the famous fatal attraction moment where Wolverine gets his adamantium pulled out by Magneto, and you mentioned that I think it was Peter's idea. You guys were brainstorming, and he was like, "Oh, this idea," and whatnot. I had no idea, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is crazy!" And I just need to say, I wish I had been like a fly on the wall for these Marvel brainstorming, just you guys just choosing these things that would become pivotal moments in Marvel. But briefly, like, just that was fantastic. So I would love to know, like, I assume you worked with Peter in some capacity. So I mean, did you have any other?
The very first time,
Mhm.
first time I saw Peter, I was at a convention and I was just kind of breaking in, and I looked at his workload and I'm like, I don't know, like, how can you? He's so prolific, and he,
Mhm.
for years he was so prolific. He had, aside from the comic books, he had the weekly column, and he was just, everywhere. He was doing the Star Trek books. He was working on a TV series. It's like, and so I remember I was at a convention, and he only gave me a few seconds, but
Mhm.
we were walking somewhere, and I said, how do you do all of this? Like, I don't get how you do it. He turns to me, he goes, get a deadline. And he walked off. I'm like, a deadline? That's a brilliant idea. And so that's, and it's true. If you have a deadline, you have people breathing down your neck, and you have to get it to them. And when it's your own deadline, it still remains a difficult task, at least in comic books. I mean, I think Carrie can probably point to my Kickstarter campaign as an example of what happens when you don't have a deadline. But like movie wise, when I write a movie, there's two ways to write a movie. You can write it on assignment, or you can write it on spec, which is speculation, which means that on assignment, you go, I got a great idea for a movie about Bambi's mother, who turns out she wasn't shot. She spent 10 years in the wilderness looking for her son. And then she opened up a monastery where she taught all the other animals how to defend themselves. And they go, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Go off and write that. Look at Squirrely. Squirrely's all excited. I just made that up as an example. Sorry. But then there's speculation, speculative writing, where you sit down and you go, I want to write a movie about a girl that keeps getting brutally murdered and reliving her day. And each time she relives the day, she gets another clue as to who's trying to kill her and how to stop them. And 14 studios said, no, that doesn't make sense. And the 15th studio was like, Happy Death Day is born. So those are the two ways to that you get a movie written in. So you were talking. Yeah, I didn't answer the question. I faded away.
No, you didn't.
Remind me the first part of the question was.
Oh, no. You
Remind me the
answered
first part
it.
of the question.
No, I was asking you about Peter David and then
Oh
just,
yeah, Peter.
Yeah.
I will say what I loved. I was reminiscing last night for the people that didn't read it. It's on my Instagram. But what it was is that we were all sitting around trying to figure out like that big moment in Fatal Attractions. We'd had a few, and we're trying to think. We're like, what about this? Does he kill Xavier? Does Xavier kill something? Blah blah blah. And then Peter's like, well, Magneto controls metal. Why doesn't he just yank the adamantium right out of him? And we're like, and he goes, I'm just throwing it out there. And we were like, what? And everybody in the room like just melted down. It was like, how did nobody over 30 years of Wolverine fighting Magneto never think of that? And when I was going through the page that I was going to post, I noticed that Fabian wrote that issue. And I'm sure he wrote it because within the context of the crossover, that's the issue that it fell on. But that's the thing about Peter. Like, Peter didn't say, well, I thought of it. I should be the one to do the big moment and sign that comic book for the rest of my life. He was like, no, I'm doing X Factor over here. And he loved it. And we loved him for doing it. But that's who he was. He wasn't, I can't say he didn't have an ego because I didn't know him that well. But in my dealings with him, he was always just generous, sweet guy. So,
absolutely.
Riley apparently skipped the
I gotta
issue,
work.
but was wondering if that was how the idea to kill Wolverine evolved. Just through that.
Oh, I know. I don't think I was ever around when Wolverine was killed. Was I? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But
No,
I mean, he was in agony, but I don't think he was. I mean, we went
Yeah.
right from there to the bone Wolverine. So
Right.
I don't think I was around when he
Yeah.
was killed. So.
I don't know.
yeah, and
much
when he
about
was
that.
killed, he was encased in adamantium.
Oh yeah.
Was it killed, or is it just kind of stuck in stasis and
Well, they advertised it as Wolverine's death,
kind of Han
but
Soloed?
he
Yeah.
came.
Yeah, but I mean, but Carrie, the thing is, again, death is only as good as the story. We knew it was at last. He's one of the most popular X-Men characters. But also, Scott, you worked on Age of Apocalypse, which I mean, in some ways, is the story that just keeps on giving. I mean, even though that story was concluded, there's been repeated revisiting to that, and including most recently, Jeff Loeb is coming back with X-Men of the Apocalypse. So, I mean, how do you feel working on something that even like almost 30 years later, it's still very much a part of Marvel's history and still producing stories?
Yeah, you don't think about it in the moment. You're just trying to get to the next issue and the next issue. Yeah, I thought we were being clever by giving it a definitive ending with a nuclear blast that kills everyone, but
Right.
hey, turns out not the case. So I mean, it's interesting because, like I say, you don't. I mean, I was 32 at the time, and my job was just to get the next issue out and the next issue out and the next issue out.
Right.
I didn't think about it. I remember in the moment, though. We were talking before, Carrie, about which issue to read when and stuff, and as the original architect, we all sat down in the boardroom, and I said, okay, so here's what happens. Xavier's died. We're going to do an alpha and an omega. And in between alpha and omega, we're going to do 4 issues. And you guys are going to do whatever you want in the 4 issues. And all you need to do is make sure that, Ileana's on the bridge, Wolverine's on the bridge, Jean and Scott are on the bridge. This is what we need at the end of your stories. And they were angry at me at first. And like, hey, come on, that's not fair. You can't just tell us to, do something. And, like, what order are they going to read them in? Like, they're going to read them 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they'll read Excalibur 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they'll read the Omega, and they'll read Astonishing X-Men 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're like, but what happens in them? You really got to tell us. And I go, I'm giving you guys the most freedom you've ever had to write these X books and to write a crossover. You get a clean slate, do what you want, make them look. And I think what happened was, like, during the Age of Apocalypse, talk about Wednesdays. I mean, the place was packed every Wednesday. Like, what the heck is just happening in this issue? What's going on in this issue? And, like, you look at guys like John Francis Moore. I think John Francis did the writing of his life on Factor X. I mean, it was just, I don't even know where he's gone since. Maybe he was decided that was the top of this hill. I don't know. I mean, I certainly had the best time ever working with Joe on my X book, working with Chris on Generation X. I mean, it was like, but I think the reason I bring it up is that it was a different way to look at a crossover. So we weren't taking the audience hostage and saying, you know what, you got to read 132 X-Men books to enjoy this. We're like, no, you know what, if you're not an Excalibur fan, it's okay, don't pick it up. If you like Uncanny but you don't like X, that's okay. If you don't like me, could you imagine? If you don't like me, that's all right. Skip ahead, you know. And I think that was really. I mean, I don't know how many times since people have done it, but I do think that was a big. You know, I think it's a bad idea anytime you try to, like, say, hold an audience hostage, you know, to your marketing schemes. You know, you can make it easy for them to buy comics now, less easy, or a chore even. So, but I don't know. Do they still do crossovers? Or?
Yes, they do. Quite a lot.
Yes.
Never stopped.
Yeah. Little too much.
Yeah.
What?
But okay.
I always forget it. What was it that I read 172 issues of to get caught up before we did the one show? One of my first shows on the network. It was the He-Man, Masters of the Universe, and was it Injustice?
Oh
I
yes,
think.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, I read Scott in a 3-day period of time. They were like, okay, we're just gonna talk about. We didn't have a guest on that week. We're just gonna discuss the Masters of the Universe meets Injustice, and I was like, well, okay, what happens there? And oh, bye, Leo. And they were like, oh, it's a lot. Just read it. I'm like, but it's the last 6 issues. I need to have some kind of background. So I read 172 issues in 3 days so I could catch up with the entire Injustice universe and understand what was going on. And
Did you like
I've been
it?
devouring. I did. I I discovered how much I hate Hank Pym even more. But I had to go through, and it was really dark for me, but it got me into where I was being able to go through the back stuff and grab all the digital stuff I had online and, like, you know, okay, this is old stuff, so I can catch up by binge reading all of that. But now I've become blind because too much screen time these days, you know.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but I can get you where it's like you don't have to do that. And now I've learned that I don't have to do that. I can have somebody summarize, kind of like, okay, if we're going to read I'm not going to read all of Action Comics to catch up with issue 1032, you know. I'll just trust somebody as to where the
Just
storyline's going. But
ask Mark or
I got Mark Wade on speed dial. So Mark,
Kirk.
could you please explain?
But
yeah,
Mhm.
no,
Go for it, Drew.
I was just saying, Drew.
So I just wanted to say, Scott. I mean, displaced aggression. I have to talk about it. Just the entire story is fantastic. I mean, and just rereading it again every time, I never get tired of it. I will say, out of all the issues, the Old West Pete Venkman is still my favorite.
Which is
with the first issue where Peter is in the Old West as a Old West Ghostbuster. The lines are fantastic. I mean, your collaborator Elias Krasinski, just first thing, the nicest guy ever. And what talent!
Wait a minute.
Everything.
Wait a minute. Does that make me the second nicest guy ever?
You know, you're mutually both nice.
Third,
You're like
Keith Champagne is just terribly nice.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, just absolutely fantastic. But the whole thing, like, I love the story. I'm a huge fan of time travel, so just the idea of Ghostbusters in time just appealed to me so much, and it was so fun. Like, I loved how you had references to the movies. You had Kozera. You had, you know, kind of Gozer's dad. Rachel Unleiter was just fantastic, and just it was great. I mean, I think, although my favorite moment is when they're going back to get Ray, and Peter just has to, quick, Marty, get in, and she's like, what? And he's like, never mind. But it's just
had to say it.
absolutely. And now I have a new joke with Carrie, where I could just say, what does verily mean? It means verily. Just you know. But
that's funny.
no, the whole thing was fantastic. And, you know, and it's funny because I actually met Elias years ago. And at the time, I had this huge ambition to actually cosplay as Peter from your comic. And he actually sent me like drawings of what he'd worked on for like a functional proton pack. And for years, I've wanted to do it. I never got a chance. But he did something really nice that I don't mind sharing. Leo, if you wouldn't mind. He drew me.
Yeah.
Full frame me. He drew me this fantastic Egon from, and I asked him, and he drew this whole thing. He inked it, he penciled it, the whole kit and caboodle. And this hangs above my Lego firehouse with a candle above it. So every once in a while, we light a candle in memory of the great Harold Ramis. So thank you both. Awesome. But I mean,
I remember when they asked me about writing it. I was like, you know what? You know, it's that old saying, like, comic books don't have budgets. You know, it's whatever you can draw is what will wind up in the story. And, you know, I was just like, you know, if we're going to do Ghostbusters, let's, you know, take them out of Manhattan. Let's, you know, hurl them through time. Let's, you know, do all these, you know, haunted. I mean, I'm pretty sure I remember that even though it was one story, the time travel gave like a totally different feel to each of the issues, you know? And so that was fun. And then, you know, another thing about Ilias is that his color schemes are like unlike anybody. You know, he not only draws and inks, but he colors his own stuff. And it's just, you know, look how gorgeous it is. It's just, and he really puts in thought into every issue he does. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's even this, like the Ghost Train I was like, oh my God, a Ghost Train. That's a reference to Ghostbusters 2. That's fantastic. You know, like you guys, like again, every issue is great. I mean, you had the Old West, you had Ray, Peter, and Rachel taking on Morgana Le Fay. You had the far future with Egon as like a Wizard of Oz dictator, and then of course back in New York to tie it all up with Winston for the final battle. And it was just like, again, 4 issues of just such fun. And I'm like, man, I would have loved another like 2 or 4. But I was like, you know what? Sometimes you just got 4 issues. You told the story, you know, it's just great. Here we go. See, look at that. It's just amazing. And for the longest time, that panel right there, I have considered even going to a Ren Fair as that version of Ray, because I'm like, it counts. You know, it would be, but I am not lugging around a chest strap. I was like, no way. Yeah. No, but it was so much fun. And you know, I've again, it's one of my favorites. Carrie, Leo, what did you guys think?
I loved it. I had so much fun reading this. Drew's got me reading Ghostbusters stuff now because Drew tells me what to read and I read it. Like, I'm Galactus and he's my Silver Surfer. So he just brings me entire series or different things to read and I devour them. And he knows my taste. And this is just great. I very much love what you did. And the way that you kept them in character, but took them all over the place. That was super fun. And yeah, I think you paired each person up with exactly where they needed to be and what would be the best point in time for them to play out well.
And Harry, you definitely enjoyed the Egon moments, if I'm correct, right? Those were some of your favorites?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty alert when they're just like, we're getting attacked. And I just wondered, is he faking those attacks? What's going on here? What's going on with the big guy? I don't know. The Defender.
Leo, what did you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, absolutely loved it. You know, I think putting Ray in medieval times is definitely a good pairing. But yeah, the Egon part, you know, where he's gone absolutely batshit crazy, you know, and he's essentially become the Wizard of Oz is, yeah, that was hilarious. But also Winston being, staying in the hellscape as well is like, you know, you didn't forget about him. You know, it's yeah, it was definitely a fun read.
And
I have to reread it. It's been so long.
Well, and Scott, I don't even know, but they actually kept what you and Elias did canon. Like both Rachel and Kozara show up in one of the crossovers for the IDW. Like Eric Burnham and Dan Showing, they had this mega crossover called Crossing Over, and both characters end up showing up. And they, as a reference, like, oh, yeah, I was like, oh my god, no way! And I remember reading it. I was like, yes. Yes,
yeah, I was no, I thought I was going crazy. Like, why does their name sound so familiar? But yeah,
me too. And it's because Drew had us read it before. I was like, I know that.
Yep.
It was you. It was you.
You're welcome.
Who did that.
You're welcome. But no, I mean, like I said, just you like again, you contributed to Ghostbuster history, and that is just so great. Especially, I will say this: I felt the same way reading what you and Elias did with Galaxy Quest, which is still one of my favorite comedies. Global Warning. I just thought you guys just got all the characters perfect, and you had such it felt so in line with the movie itself. The characters, the voices, and whatnot. Like I really loved, the comedy moments, which read very much like it, but also like you had just these beautifully sad moments in Global Warning, and I was just like, oh god damn, like I was like, just fantastic. So I just needed to say that. I mean, I never read that up to this interview, and just reading that, I was like, man, I got to rewatch Galaxy Quest. Like, damn, it's a great movie.
That's so good. It's funny. First, thank you for all those kind words, but also it's like I was saying, like the thing about stand-up comedy is you tell a joke, and in that instance if you have achieved what you wanted to achieve, because the audience laughs or it doesn't laugh, and if it doesn't laugh, you can't go back and go, let me do that joke. I think if I retell that joke from 5 minutes ago, I think I'll be on better footing. You really it's like jazz. You just have to, go with what is happening in that moment with all the material you generated or whatever skill set you possess. But right away. Thank you. You know right away whether or not it's funny, and that's it. But with comic books, you write something, and 5 years later, 10 years later, 30 years later, 35 years later, somebody comes up and says, hey, when you wrote that thing, oh my God, that was so funny. Or, oh my God, it was so sad when you killed Ileana. Or I hated you, but then I forgave you because it was a really good story. It's the strangest thing, because you really don't know how you impact or how a story went over unless it's, unless somebody literally comes up to you, at a convention or on a podcast or somewhere and says, this meant a lot to me because of this, or, oh, you missed the boat on that one, Scotty. You get different. I was kind of hoping that you would, that one of you would go, yeah, I didn't get it. I'll be honest, I thought it kind of sucked. I thought the movie was better. I'd be like, oh, dude,
oh God. So you want us to be like what was it, like the scene in Galaxy Quest where Jason's in the bathroom and just hears the people shit talking the show, which was based on something that actually happened to Shat. So Scott. No, needs to go to the comic book retirement home. Yeah, what was that? Yeah. Damn it, hell with you.
Yeah, when I sign off, I'm going to pretend to sign off.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you know what I'll just tell you, my master plan for Galaxy Quest was to do Galaxy Quest like you saw it, but then also do a spin-off book where we're in the Galaxy Quest world. So we're like watching episodes of Galaxy Quest, like either the original or the current one that was relaunched with the movie. And I thought that would be so cool to watch a series about, the Galaxy Quest.
Oh, that would be cool.
Oh my God, that would have been so cool.
Absolutely.
I gotta admit, I didn't read Galaxy Quest.
God damn it, Carrie.
I've only seen the movie once, and it was like over a decade ago, and I started reading it, and I'd read other stuff, but I was just like, I have no idea what's going on here or who any of these people are. I'm just gonna skip this one and read the other stuff. So,
Okay, well,
I'm sure it was
that was close to breaking my heart. So thanks for that.
God damn it, Carrie.
Well, you said you wanted, it isn't
I know,
negative
thank
feedback.
you.
It's just
I appreciate it.
I'm not praising you for it did look really good though. I just didn't know what to do.
No, that's right. I mean, it's I think
You're like, I'm never
good
coming on a
thing
show
is
with you
that-
again.
no, it's fine. Next time though, you'll be late at night. You'll be like, let me give it another shot, and then you'll be like, wow, Drew was right.
I will. I probably
Or you could
will.
not like it. That's fine too.
Oh, I'll probably like it. I just had no point of reference to get it, and I was like, I don't have time to watch TV and read this and be ready for the show. So,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that might even be it. I'm pretty sure that Elias drew us into this issue. I mean, into this trade.
that's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember where it was, but next time you talk to him, ask him, he'll tell you. I think he even put us in Ghostbusters.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, like I said, everything was just absolutely fantastic, and I would be remiss not to also mention that I love Happy Death Day. I mean, that is just a fun freaking movie, and it still makes me laugh. Like, I can't listen to Demi Lovato's Confident and not just think about the Groundhog Day loop of doing the same damn thing all the freaking time, especially while she's trying to figure out who's killing her. That was just such a fun movie, and like I said, just kudos to you. I Carrie, I feel like you want to say something, so passing it to you, Carrie.
Oh no, dude, I loved Happy Death Day, and I reviewed it before on a movie review podcast that I do, a different one than the one I was telling you about, where we go out and do the reviews of movies. Just loved it. My friend James was a big fan. Everybody at my network just thought it was great, and
Good. Send me that link.
I definitely will when I get done with the show. I'll find that one, and I unfortunately James passed away this past December, but he would be so excited
did
that I am
he?
talking to you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or did
He
he?
would.
We don't
But
know.
he would have loved that, and he would be so excited that I'm talking to you now. So I would like to pass on that was something where he was just like, oh my God, this is great, and it was a very nice bonding experience for us. And I saw that you did a Critters movie that I was unaware of. I'm gonna have to go and do a Critters binge because I haven't seen Critters for a long time, and I was like going through your list of everything, and I was just like, oh, I gotta check that out.
Like, what doesn't he do?
It's like a Swiss
Exactly.
Army knife of a man.
You do stand-up comedy, you write comics, you write screenplays. Are you in a band by any chance?
No, but that's a good
Do you
question.
sing or play an instrument?
You know what?
Do you dance well? Like, can you polka?
I was in Puerto Rico at a comic book convention this year, and they had a karaoke machine at the con with a giant camera. And this guy pulled me over and he said, come on, let's do this. And so for only the third time in my life, I sang in public. But what I did was I can sing any song as Kermit. So we were in this crowd and all these people are watching. And he's like, oh, here, you know this one. And it was Imagine. So it's like, imagine there's no lovers. It's easy if you try. So I did the song. I sang with him. And it's like, I don't remember the words, so it'd be easier to do. But I was like,
oh my God.
You're not the only. If you believe that you're a dreamer, but you're not the only one.
Oh my God.
So I did that.
That is
loved it.
That is amazing. I,
But
I,
You just
my-
jumped up higher. Higher on the best
any
people list.
song. Yeah, I should do an album of just me doing Kermit. You know.
We love to do parodies, so we'll have to see if we can we have a Muppets intro that we're trying to
oh my
get ready
God,
to
the
do.
Muppet intro.
Can we
Oh,
get you to like sing with us on it at some point? It would be
Oh my
super
Sure,
God.
I'd be happy to.
Hi ho there, Kermit the Frog on Splash Pages.
Kermit the Frog.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah.
I think the only ones that I can do are usually the deep bass characters. So I think my favorite is doing Bobo the Bear, and I only can do select lines. So I just I think what was it? Because when he was the bouncer on I think it was Muppets Tonight, it was
Okay.
just some of his best. And I just remember, I think it was what was it? The episode when Prince is on. And this is around the time Prince was doing, where he didn't his name was a symbol, not his artist form was Prince. It was like, oh, okay, who are you? And it's like, well, I'm the artist form. I was, oh, well, I'm the bear that's formerly not amused. And it's just, the whole thing, and it was just so great. But then they had the Muppets show, and he had just some great lines. But the best was, I think he walked up to Kermit. And he was, hey, boss, yeah. Can I maul the next guy who asks if I'm the bear from The Revenant? And it just thank you. To this day, it still just cracks me up. But the fact that you can sing as Kermit is just, oh my God, that's hilarious.
We did have a question come in from ID saying the original Generation X arc and Age of Apocalypse follow-up was such a highlight of the 90s X-Men, and in my opinion, your work. Was that what you wanted it to be? Did you have more to say with those characters or the title?
I don't think I had any more to say. There are a few subplots in Generation X that, what happens is when you when you leave a book, it's usually for another book. So you're nose deep in that book. And then the new people come on and they just look at the threads and they have to pretty much guess, they could call or maybe an editor could ask, but pretty much, you're left. So I put in all these clues that Monet was made up of two younger sisters who had one had autism and one didn't. And we see a bunch of clues throughout the first 25 issues of Generation X that if you knew what you were looking at, you go, oh yeah, these are secret things that they're putting in and they're building this plotline. The next writer had no idea what I had planned. So instead he made the twins pennants and pennants M and M, and I don't know, to this day it's too painful to read because I'm like, no. But I've been in the exact same situation where I've been on a book and, you're like, okay, let me figure out what they started and can I wrap this up? Do I need to wrap this up to move on to the next thing? So there are things that I probably, then later on in the series, they killed all the characters for some reason and I don't know why, but no, for the most part, and Age of Apocalypse was exactly where it needed to end. I think part of the epic appeal of Age of Apocalypse was that it did end, and it made everybody want more. And I don't necessarily know that going back would accomplish that. I for years, for my whole career, I always said, I want to see the next thing, not the last thing, like we'd be designing characters and somebody go, oh, look at these straps on the boots and I'm like, we've already seen that. Let's see the next thing, Oh, look, this character looks like Apocalypse. We know who Apocalypse is. Well, let's do the next thing. Let's, Scott, why don't you use the Hellfire Club? We've already seen the Hellfire Club. And every time they show up, they ask an X-Men, Warren, will you join us? And he's like, no. And they're like, ah. Oh. They're like, Storm, will you join us? And Storm's like, no, thank you. And they're like, oh. Then they go to Betsy Braddock. Betsy Braddock, will you join us? No. Oh man. You'd think they'd be like, let's stop trying to get X-Men to join our club. Let's maybe go find someone evil like Magneto or somebody, And so I didn't want to do, Hellfire Club. I didn't want to do the traditional Sentinels. I didn't want to do, whatever's been done. I want to do the next thing. And so to that end, you don't get Brotherhood of Evil Mutant, but you get the Acolytes. You don't get the Sentinels, but you get the Phalanx. You don't get the Morlocks, but you get Gene Nation. So it was like always, what is the next thing? Because we've already seen the last thing. And to answer your question, I don't, I would never, if I ever had the opportunity to write the X-Men in any length, it would not be a best of album. It would be all my experimental work that I've worked on over the years. It'd be the next thing. So to answer the question.
Okay.
Now people are like,
another
he's so pompous.
Nope, never said that.
Justin Coop here would like to know, would you write a Muppet book, perhaps a Pigs in Space series?
Oh, that's interesting. I will be honest, I don't know any of the pigs. I was, I wouldn't even know where to start. Maybe they would land on the war planet Bacon. I'm not sure, but I would. Yeah, I'm not sure the god pig of war. Can anybody name a pig? Can anybody name a pig that was a member of the
Miss Piggy?
Space? Was
Damn,
she?
It's the only one I know.
You're bluffing. You're bluffing.
Well, Miss Piggy was.
I have a.
I don't know if that was her character's name.
Well, no, it was because that was first mate Piggy, and you had. It was Captain Link Hogthrob, which was Shatnery, and then it was first mate Piggy, and then it was Julius.
Strange Pork.
Thank you. Yes, Strange Pork.
Yep.
I think someone's reading from Wikipedia. That doesn't.
Yep,
count.
Wikipedia. That's what I brought up.
I know. I saw your eyes.
Cheating.
I'm reading.
Leo has like multiple screens going. He's always like, he once designed 2 T-shirts during a show.
He did.
Not
2.
this show, but he did.
Yep.
I was
Instead
there.
of doing
I was
Fox,
watching.
he'll work on 2 T-shirts. But no.
I will say that I like to write most anything. Anytime anybody would put something in front of me, I remember when there used to be a corporate arm of Marvel where, they would do, Tricks Rabbit would come in and they'd be like, will you do a Tricks Rabbit Captain America comic book? And Marvel would be like, yeah, sure, we'll get on it. So they were called the corporate comics division. And I walked in the office one day at the height of my X-Men-ness, and somebody goes, oh, that's ridiculous. I go, oh, what's ridiculous? And they go, they want to do Star Trek X-Men. I'm like, nobody touches Star Trek X-Men except for me. I'm doing Star Trek X-Men. And everybody's like going, you write the X-Men, like, why would you ever want to do a Star Trek X-Men? That's embarrassing. I'm like, oh my God, it's the coolest idea I've ever heard of in my life. And so, I did it, and I had a great time with it. But I often, even at DC, I had to do I didn't have to, but they were doing these Looney Tune crossovers. Right. And I heard that somebody was doing Daffy Duck and Joker. I'm like, oh my God. And I ran over to the office. I go, please let me do Daffy Duck and him. Not because I wasn't busy, because I was very busy, but there are some things like, so to answer the question, yeah, I would write the heck out of Pigs in Space just to see.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, you should read that book. Why haven't you read it? My favorite line in the Star Trek X-Men book. My favorite line in the Star Trek X-Men book was when Shatner goes up to, or Kirk goes up to Jean Grey, and he's like, is everybody from the past? No, he's like, so is your mutation that you're so beautiful? And she goes, well, my husband thinks so. He's like, oh, well, it's like, so to see Kirk hitting on Jean Grey, it's one of the thrills of my life. But
that's
yeah.
it. That's
when Dr. McCoy meets Dr. McCoy. So if you want to read an issue where Dr. McCoy meets Dr. McCoy in sickbay, you want to pick it up. So,
my God.
I need to find that and read it.
You do.
So
yeah, go Karen.
have you broke into prose yet? Are you getting, do you do screenwriting for movies and television and you do the comics? And I haven't found really any prose by you, but you're an amazing storyteller. So
thank you. Yeah, I do have.
You're writing what I think is difficult. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
I have written two. No, I've written two novels, and someday I'll get them out. So I will tell you something interesting is that one novel is a thriller about a woman who breaks some guy out of jail, and she's like this lonely, not miserable, but it's a sad, lonely girl. And he gets out of jail and he smacks her around. He's like, I'm leaving. And he grabs a swallow of coffee and he goes out and he passes out and he hits a tree. And he wakes up and he's chained to the garage. And she explains that she was in the car when he was spree killing 30 years ago. And she's tired of the fact that he's still on death row. So she's going to kill him, but she's going to kill him in the order of all the people whose lives he ruined during that 3-day killing spree. And she pours acid on the people that to represent the people that got burned, blah blah. And so my girlfriend at the time, she said, oh, you're writing a book, would you mind if I read it while you're working on it? I go, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I gave it to her, and she comes out the next day and she's like, I can't believe this. I don't know who you are. Like, I can't believe you think this way. I go, I don't think that way at all. I mean, the character is seeing that way. Yeah, the character is a psycho and she wants revenge. I said, but you have to understand that for, 25 years at the time, every month I had to think of like 3 or 4 ways for the earth to blow up and how a superhero is able to stop them. Or I have to figure out how somebody got kidnapped or killed, and then I'd have to solve the crime. It's I didn't think about killing anybody. I didn't think about blowing up the world. I didn't think about that's not me. That was but she thought that was. So.
Oh wow!
I have friends in the splatterpunk industry. I'll get a hold of you with some folks when we're done with this.
And
that sounds amazing.
Oh God, damn! He did it.
Sorry. No, that's right. I'm still here. No, are you there?
Oh
I'm
yeah.
still here.
No.
Yes. To this email. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Okay.
I thought you did that abrupt ending you talked about. Just
no, he
not
You're like son of a bitch.
Yeah. That's a Scott of his word.
That Blackout is one of my favorite Marvel villains, actually.
But
now, how do I get back to you guys? Let's see.
What would it be?
Unstop the cam.
What would it be? Let's see.
Bottom, there should be mute, stop cam,
back.
And then you.
There you go. He's back. Yeah.
There we go.
So, Justin's asking, does Scott? Yeah, does Scott have any secrets from his X-Men days that didn't make it to print?
Ooh.
Yes, one, but I can't tell you.
There.
Because it's rated R+.
Oh boy. Red bag.
Goodness.
Yeah, let's see. A secret from my X-Men days. Oh, okay. This is kind of a silly secret, but do you guys remember when the X-Men went into space and Rogue had that, we called it the eggplant costume. It was like eggplant colored with yellow racing stripes. It was like the best costume. But the idea is that, and we sent the X-Men into space. And there's an old movie called The Best Years of Our Lives, which was an old black and white movie about people coming home from war and what being at war did to them. It was really, 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 it's breathtaking if you ever get the chance. But I wanted to do an arc where we started it where Beast, Rogue, Deathbird, Bishop, and what's his name? One other character. Who was it? Did I say Beast?
Yes.
But either way, it was those characters. Oh, and Gambit. And I wanted to do an arc where I was going to take them away for a year. And in that year in space, they were going to go through war. And it was going to be horrific. And they were going to be caught in between two civilizations. And if you think being a mutant was difficult, you know, going to war with these powers was really going to... Oh, Havoc? Okay. Was really going to be very, very, very profound and dark and disturbing. And then they were going to come back, and the other X-Men were going to be like, "What's up? You guys were gone, and now you're back, and you're kind of a little scary. I'll be honest. Like, what happened out there?" And they can't even relate it because it was just so. It was like going off to Vietnam or something. And I started the storyline, and every episode, every issue, editorial will come to me and they go, "You know, we don't think that space thing never works. Space never works with the X-Men, never works. So you really got to wrap it up." And I go, "Well, why?" Like, wrapping it up means, you know, like it was all set up for this epic story in space. And so next issue came back. "Oh, you got, come on, Scott, wrap it up." So finally, I called up Joe Madureira and I said, "Joe, what page are you on?" He goes, "Oh, Gambit is on that alien planet," and he bends down, he's splashing his face with water. I go, "What is that?" He goes, "Oh, like page 5, I think." I said, "Okay, on the next page, turn off the hologram program." Okay, they didn't go off to space. Everybody was just in the hologram. And he goes, "Okay," and editorial's like, "Oh, okay, at least they're not into space." But I'm like, you know, and nobody ever brought it up again, except for the people that liked those few issues. But It was really just, it was kind of rude of me, but also I was just like, I'm tired of having this fight with you guys every issue. So it's gone. So if you ever read that space epic that starts as a space epic, right? Thank you so much. Thank you, Mike. You're right.
There you go.
I know, right? It was so, I mean, if I ever had the chance to do Starjammers, I would have. I don't know how I missed out on that opportunity. So.
Oh, come on.
So that's a secret that I don't share very often. So
listen, Scott, if Chris Claremont can keep coming back to fill in gaps of X-Men history, anything's possible. You know?
Yeah, but again, you know, again, what's the password? It's the next thing. So
fair enough.
You know,
it would be so cool to read those old scripts, though. You know, just to see. I don't know.
You know what we would do? It turns out, Howard. You know, nowadays you just scroll through your turn in something and you scroll through it. We would do this thing where that would be good too. We would do this thing where you know, you'd write your scripts on paper. And so you would write a page, and then towards the end of the page, it's like, and then Cyclops pulls out a knife and he stabs Wolverine. And at first we think, oh, he's got a healing factor, but then he pulls out his beating heart on the knife and then he eats it. And then you turn the page, you go, just kidding. You know, and then you write. But I used to do that all the time just to get them to go, what the, you know, they're at home reading it, and I go, what the hell? He's gone out of his mind. But years later, I found out that Howard Mackey would do the same thing when he was writing Ghost Rider. You bring it like right up to the end of the page. You turn the page like, just kidding.
Oh, that's
I
too funny.
love reading people's scripts. It's one of my favorite things to get people give them as add-ons for stuff. I love the different styles from each writer, and also who they're working with. It changes the stuff that you and like how they communicate with each other. If it's somebody that they've worked together with often, there's very little direction. It's like they can read their mind. But I just love reading what the people put into scripts and how silly, like you're saying, sometimes it gets. Some people are very technical, but some people have so much fun with them, and it's just great to read.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I'll tell you one time I was an issue of Onslaught came out, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it'll be double size," and I wasn't thinking anything of it at the time. And I never swore in my youth, at least not in front of people mostly. But now we live in a society where you're no one if you can't drop a F-bomb once in a while. And so this Onslaught came out, and when I was writing, I would say, a big fucking explosion, because I was really trying to sell, I didn't want like a poof, I wanted a big fucking explosion, 2 pages.
Right.
So I was in the office, and I knew that the breakdown of the Onslaught issue came out. And I said, "Oh, what'd you fill with?" And they go, "Oh, yeah, we should have asked. We put your plot in the back." I'm like, "Ah!" I ran the length of that thing, and I whip open them, and somebody had the good sense to like not just print the plot, because they took out all the F-bombs. But I was like, dear God in heaven, my whole career is gonna disappear overnight, because I'm the guy that like printed this X book filled with expletives. So, but it turned out I was okay. But there's a brief moment of horror that I was like, so.
and I want to see a letterer put in "crack a fucking boom" across an entire splash page. That would be
Well.
be
Speaking
awesome.
of which, I don't know if you know this about Peter, but Peter used to have a lot of fun. Peter David used to have a lot of fun with his explosions and stuff. Like I remember one. It's the only one I remember. But if you go back and look at his Hulk, when you order lamb, how it comes, right?
Right.
So he had a huge explosion, and it was just rack of lamb, and people are like, "Oh, that must be an explosion," but he would do things like that. So if you look at his sound effects, that was the sense he used. So.
Oh yeah.
Hulk punch Thor, and Thor goes flying into orbit, and it's like rack of lamb.
That's amazing. Well, what? Yeah. Oh, wait.
Who do you love?
What kind of fictional? What? So I guess as we're gonna wrap up, what are some of your favorite fictional characters? Ones that you just love to write. Like if someone's like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" You're like, "Yes."
I mean, I'll tell you one of my favorites, and it's funny because she's on the. There's a book out called like Worst Superheroes Ever, and I have 3 of them. One is Marrow, one is Maggot, and I forget who the third one is. But if you ever read the book, you can see it. but Marrow is, I love Marrow. She was I was walking through, I forget the name of the store, but it was in Greenwich Village, and there were steps in front of the store, and there was these kids sitting on the steps, and so you had to like maneuver around them. And so there's this girl sitting on the stoop, and she just had the most amount of piercings I'd ever seen in my life. And I'm like, what is the mutant version of that? Like, if I was going to take that as my starter, where is that? And then I thought, oh, what about Marrow? What if she grows these bones out of her, and then she'll snap one off and she has a blade, or she'll snap one off and she has an axe. Like, it's like, so like Wolverine with his adamantium, she's in constant pain, but it's also like who she is, and she's using that pain, and her defenses to at first protect herself and G Nation, and later on, as an X-Men. And I just thought, like anybody that can overcome their past or overcome their, addiction or overcome their pain to help other people are always, my favorite characters. And of all the characters I probably created in mainstream comics, I think Marrow is that girl. So, but what's funny is that we decided at one point that Angel was going to save Marrow when she was younger in the tunnels, and the girl's name was Sarah. So during the Marauders, so he was going through the tunnels and he found her and he saved her, and he didn't realize that she grew up to be Marrow. But that was something that I said, that I like kind of tossed out for Jeff Loeb to use. And then at one point I saw a book, like who created what, blah, blah, blah. And it was like Marrow created by Jeff Loeb when she was Sarah. I'm like, but that makes me feel a little bad just because I love her so much. Well, I'm not really mad, Jeff. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Right. Just kidding. All right. Well, thank you so much.
What did you say about the recent ones?
Oh,
what did you say about the recent X-Men?
What was it? This is why I love the X-Men. I'm worried the recent ones have lost that factor.
I cannot comment only because I haven't read it. So I'll tell you one other secret, and then I'll leave you be because you're like, damn, this is going on long.
Didn't say that.
Oh, we love
Didn't
having
say
you
it,
here.
but I was
This is a
talking
fun
to
chat.
a friend of mine who is a writer of who's even older than I am. What? Is that possible? Yeah, he's older than I am. And we realized in the discussion that after you've written a series for at least 5 years or a long run, that every issue that comes after that is fan fiction. And I know Chris felt that way about me, and I know there's a lot of people who I've gone on books after them, and they're like, but you just, it's just not the same, You just look and you go, okay, that was a choice,
I can feel you there because I write. I have a couple little shorts published, but like I write a lot of Lovecraftian style stuff, and that's basically all fan fiction based off of like 10 or 12 people who wrote stuff back in the day and created an entire universe, and now we all just grab it and write our own versions of it. So
and so
it's good. It's still worth reading.
Well, I mean, it's fine. Like, I think, I don't think there's, you can tell me, I understand Hickman. People loved Hickman. I did read a few issues of Josh to see how he got Colossus back. But for the most part, it's just better if you just don't read it. And, really, why did they make that decision? So.
Is there, what are you currently reading now? If you have time to read.
Right now, I honestly don't. Nothing. I'm not criticizing today's comic books. If anything, I'm criticizing my short attention span theater. Like Martian Manhunter looks really interesting. The Absolute Martian Manhunter.
Oh yeah,
but not interesting enough for me to seek out a comic book store and go buy it. So, So that's all I can say. I mean, the last comic book I remember being blown away by is Umbrella Academy, the first series of the Umbrella Academy.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know where he learned to do what he did, but holy moly, was that good! So
agreed. That was pretty amazing.
Well, and he appeared out of thin air to do it.
Indeed. Well, Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. I mean, this has just been absolutely great. Thank you for all the stories and the good humor and laughs. We really appreciate it. And
thank you.
And as Leo put it, if you don't mind, what conventions are you planning on that people can see you at? And of course, if anything, what is the best way people can interact with you on social media?
I'm at Scott Lobdell 2.0 on Instagram. And that's where I try to, I don't think I've ever not followed anyone, and I try to write back to everyone. So that's a good place. Oh, and then I'm doing a convention, I believe, on the 28th of September in Atlanta. So wherever Atlanta is, whatever convention's in Atlanta, not wherever Atlanta is, because that doesn't change. But I'm in AtlantaCon, and then the week after that, I'm in a place called Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh, very nice.
And did you mention you're also going to be at Dragon Con?
Is that the one in Atlanta or no?
It might be.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
That's the name I can't remember. And also, I'm writing a movie right now with my friend John McLaughlin. We wrote a movie called what is it, Man of the House, with Tommy Lee Jones many years ago. But now we just are writing a movie. It was originally called Odin, but it had to go through a name change, and we're not sure what the name change is yet. But it's you'll recognize it because it's about a German Shepherd whose owners are murdered, and then the German Shepherd tracks down the 5 people that killed them and kills them one at a time.
Oh,
and
man.
The internet called it John Lick. So, but that's supposed to go in front of the cameras in September. So keep your fingers crossed. So,
Very nice. That sounds awesome.
Cool.
Well,
there's a lot of pet related or animal related comics out now too. So
Indeed.
it's definitely a good time for it.
Indeed.
Okay.
Well,
Cool.
Again, Scott, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. As Leo said, just when you leave, just press the red X and it'll bring you to the uploads page, and then just let that, upload to 100. And if anything, if there's any issues, we can always just send you a link. So no worries.
Will you be here? Will you hear me or nothing?
When you
No, it'll
while you
just
while you're uploading, you're off the stream.
Darn, I wanted to say funny things. Okay. All right. Well,
you
a
can
pleasure,
go hang
everyone.
out and watch if you'd like.
Yeah.
Hang out.
Yeah.
On the stream.
A pleasure, everyone, and you guys. It was a pleasure, and I know we got off on a not a tirade, but a tangent when we first got on talking about binging comic books and stuff. But it just goes to show how much we have to talk about. So if you ever want to do it again, I'd be happy to.
Oh,
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
absolutely. Be more than glad to have you back, sir. Thank you so much, and good luck with everything you're working on. And all the John Lick.
Thank you, Justin, and thank you everybody else who had questions and who are out there listening. And I'm sure I'm going to get 100 new followers today on my Instagram. I can feel it in my bones.
There you go.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. It was wonderful to spend time.
Drew, who is coming on?
Oh my God, why? Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us with Scott Lobdell. Stay tuned because we still got news and Kickstarters. So yeah, but next week we have something a little different, but just as great. We're gonna have on one of our favorite guest hosts, an awesome creator and collaborator, Mr. Steve Van Sampson, with one of his collaborators, Derek Rook. They're going to be talking about the book that they're working on, which name is, Carrie, what's the name?
It's Gorshriek #3, the final book. It's Gorshriek Resurrectus #3.
Okay, thank you.
Through Rough House Publishing.
Okay,
I
yes.
spent a shitload on it. It's wonderful.
Okay, that too. But yeah, so that we will have both of them on, and we're super pumped because it's always nice to have a creative team. And we got a lot of other great things coming up because that'll be June, which means we are still on the countdown to Terrificon.
And horrible bugs are in the air. Yes. Also,
Yes.
Steve has a great podcast called Retro Octopus, and you should definitely check it out because they do amazing things there. It's so much fun. Love Steve. I have to say his name a specific way when I'm on Owlite because I've introduced him so many times. I'm required to keep adding something new to his name so that like my introduction. I think I've introduced him more times than anyone else on I don't know. It's like my claim to fame. I have more t-shirts by him than there are days of the week.
That's very true. I'm not gonna lie. Very true.
Awesome.
It's very strange.
It's
Yeah,
not
I'm all about it.
Want to let everybody know there's still a bunch of show left. We're going to be going over Variant Watch and then comic book news for the week, and also some crowdfunding items as well. And yeah, so we will kick it off with
It's Variant Watch, everyone. It's time. Okay, so Variant Watch time.
give me a minute because
you queued me up, and I'm filling dead air, man. Like, damn, dude. No, I just why? But why? Let's be better. No.
Okay, almost there. These are very cool.
Oh, okay. Yes, the Retrovision. So, Marvel Comics has revealed a series of what they call Retrovision variant covers starting in July. So these are going to be paying homage to classic style and Silver Age aesthetics. So these are going to hit just in time for us to see the release of Fantastic Four, the first steps, on July 25th. So, that will be a, Marvel First Family, 1960s inspired retro-futuristic world. So we have a ton of awesome creators here. We have Eric Larson, Lee Romero, Betsy Cola, Benjamin Sue, Michael Cho, Annie Wu, Dan Panosian, Scott Koblish, who we've had on the show, was awesome. Dan Jurgens, Andrea DeVito, Mike Allred, Nick Bradshaw, Wes Craig. I mean, this is just, if you are a fan of classic style comics, Silver Age and even a little bronze, these are the variants that you want. I mean, just look at them. They're just fantastic.
Did you say Lee Bermejo?
No.
Oh, Lee Romero.
Lee Romero, yes.
Okay.
And Scott Bermejo. I think, by the way, Leo, I think Scott just texted me saying something about, did he do something wrong? So we might have to revisit his uploads in a minute.
Okay.
So just, he just texted me that. So, I was like, we'll get there, Scotty. So, but yeah, look at these. I mean, these are just fantastic. So I can't say which one I like the best, but I can just say I really appreciate this vision.
Oh, I can tell you which one I like the best. The Carnage.
Of course you did.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, so these are going to be starting July. So please, if you like anything you're seeing here, make sure to check out your local LCS because, by God, retrovise yourself. Words. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So July, everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Okay,
So,
we have more variants coming up.
Yep. Yes. So because we haven't got enough of Marvel and Godzilla. We already saw the one shots where Godzilla is battling different Marvel characters throughout history. You have this book by Jerry Dugan, Javier Garron, just killing it, seeing the King of Monsters against the combined might of the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, X-Men, and more. So what we're seeing here is this is a first look at the second issue, where the Dugan and Garant will be joined by superstar artist Paco Medina. So these covers include, Leo, if we go back to the beginning briefly. Thank you. So that's Mark Brooks depicting Venom becoming the latest host of the Venom symbiote. So terrifying. Andreas Sorrentino and Stonehouse. Yes, that's that's Stonehouse right there. And then we also have what is called the action figure variant cover by John Tyler Christopher. So that's King Ghidorah. We also have Dave Watcher continuing the series line of Marvelized variants. So that is a Ghost Rider, I believe, Mecha Godzilla.
Oh,
so that's terrifying. So yeah, so if you're liking any of these, definitely talk to your local LCS and make sure you grab them.
This is pretty badass, but the friggin' Venomized Godzilla, that is friggin' scary.
Indeed. Indeedimus.
I didn't know I needed that until I saw it. And I was like, it's a foo lion or a foo dog. It looks to me like a... Do you get what I'm saying? The foo dogs that are like the dragons, the Chinese dragon things.
Exactly.
It has kind of that kind of a muzzle to it. And then it's just adorable. Like, I would pet it. Like, little guy.
You would pet it as it eats you or stomps on you.
Yeah, it's okay. It's allowed to. It's cute.
You have problems. But we knew that.
We all knew that. I also, by the way, Coop asked, am I wearing a shirt? And I want to do this real quick. Yeah, I'm wearing Comics Paradox shirt that is Doomed Planet, Strange Visitor, Kindly Couple, Powers and Abilities, Bird Plane, Super Comics Paradox. Our dear friend Brandon and Mark Powers designed these shirts, and I put a link in where you can get your very own. And Fantastic Four shirts, and a couple other shirts that have been put out there for Comic Paradox. So check it out. Grab yourself one. It's going to be fun. I hate that layout.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Hey, what's up next, Drew?
Leo, thank you for asking. Up next, Fantastic Four variant covers. So as we know, in July, Ryan North and Humberto Ramos are kicking off a new era, though we're seeing Reed, Sue, Ben, Johnny are scattered across time by Doctor Doom, of course. So that issue is going to be hitting stands just weeks before the movie. So here are all the variants that you'll see at your local comic book shop. I mean, the talent in these are amazing. I mean, you have Alex Ross, Alan Davis, Jerome Opeña, Cliff Chiang, Jihui Lee. There's also a special foil variant by Mohamed Asrar, a remastered Hidden Gem variant cover by John Buscema, a wraparound variant cover by Claudio Castanelli, and the first of a 5-part connecting cover by Scotty Young. And we already saw there's a Lee Romero Retrovision cover, and Lorenzo Pastrovicio is doing the latest Disney What If character cover. So, I mean, we've just been speeding through them. But yeah, I mean, look at this fantastic collection of talent. I mean, by God. I mean, look at that. Even a Marvel Rivals cover. It's just fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I love this.
Since we just posted, it looks like I can't tell if he's wrapping things around. For a second, when I first saw it and wasn't really looking at it, it made me think of that sketch on Saturday Night Live that was horrible when they had Chris Farley doing the dancing tryout for
Oh yeah.
I missed the way what he was pulling on. I thought he was, and then I was like, okay, no, he's not doing that. All right, we're good. But yeah,
Absolutely.
took me a second there. But it is adorable. I can't wait to see the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's going to be the connecting cover. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I'm
Very
assuming he's probably
cool.
part of Mr.
Indeed.
Fantastic, maybe. Reed, got
Yeah.
a little
Yeah,
handful of
that's what it
Reed
looks
there.
like. Yep, that's what it looks like. He's pulling Reed, which could be very naughty too. So it's
Brett, yes. Here, we'll get you the whiskey for that one. That was visual that we did.
okay. And next up, I think we have
Drew's News! Drew's News! Exciting tales, fresh comic views. In the pages, heroes fly, villains plot under the sky. From Gotham's dark to Metropolis views, we cover stories old and new. Drew's News! Drew's News! Your daily source for comic clues. Join the fun, it's a heroic cruise in the world of Drew's Comic News.
It's true. It's my news, for better or worse.
And he'll do what he wants to. Do what he
That makes
wants
you
to.
bold. Okay.
We know.
Yeah, both of you just absolute dumpster fires. All right, so let's start. Let's start
I'm a
the news.
dumpster
Leo, this is
phoenix.
you.
Yeah, so actually, just we were just talking about this. So Ryan North, and let me just make sure I got the right story up. Yeah. So Ryan North and Ed McGuinness are teaming up for a Marvel all-in-one. It's a 50-page one-shot that's literally The Thing versus the Marvel Universe. So writer Ryan North, known for his work on Fantastic Four and his brilliant run on Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, and also artist Ed McGuinness has been crushing it on Amazing Spider-Man. This entire issue is nothing but splash pages and double-page spreads. 50 pages of pure visual spectacle. No regular panels, no quiet moments, just Ben Grimm clobbering his way through the Marvel Universe in a bombastic way possible. So here's the official synopsis. Ben Grimm, a.k.a. The Thing, if you didn't know. He's the ever-loving idol of millions and powerhouse of the Fantastic Four. He's strong, he's kind, and he never gives up. And he's also tired, and he's sore, and he's grumpy. So there's always a new threat facing the world of the galaxy or the universe, and somehow he and the rest of the Fantastic Four are always the only ones who can stop it. Ben Grimm is sick and tired of it. He just wants a break. But when he returns to Earth after a solo mission in space to discover that the Fantastic Four have turned against him, along with the rest of the New York City and apparently the entire world, he's got a mystery to solve and a whole wide world to clobber. So North says working with McGuinness is something this explosive is literally a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and McGuinness is calling this one of the most fun and challenging books he's ever worked on. So Marvel All-in-One, it hits shelves August 20th, and honestly, this sounds like the kind of comic that reminds you, you know what, it's clobbering time. Just forget what I said.
I love how it's all splash pages. I think there's I think the next page shows the interior. Yeah.
Yep.
He's just flying all over the place. And that's that you don't need words for half of this. It's just like
No. Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Currently, so he's taking on the Marvel Universe. Deadpool's killing it for the third time around with Cullen. Godzilla is on round round 2 of the entire Marvel Universe, I think. The Predator is taking who's next? Can we just have the Marvel Universe takes on the Marvel Universe?
It's gonna be
I mean, you could. I mean, they did kind of do that. You know, you had the Squadron Supreme versus the Ultimate Universe, so that was, Marvel versus Marvel, kind of.
Just kind of grab your D20, roll it out, see. Well, I guess it'd be a D100 at least, but just throw it out and see like who's going to fight who and how are we going to do it? That'd be fun. I don't know.
It's going to be Porky Pig. It's going to be Porky Pig kills the Marvel Universe.
Dear
Is it going to be
God.
noir Porky Pig, though? Tom King writing like Elmer Fudd and Porky Pig taking on, like Looney Tunes takes on the Marvel Universe.
Okay, you guys are going too far. It's too far. Take it back. No, take it back. Next, what's the next one?
It's going to be beautiful.
Oh,
next is me. Okay.
oh my God,
So,
this looks so good.
Okay. If you're a fan of Jules Verne, then Dark Horse has got you covered. Those familiar with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or The Mysterious Island will know that Captain Nemo and his glorious submarine, the Nautilus, rock. If you don't know them from there, then perhaps his inclusion in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen series might ring a bell. He is a fearless, highly educated adventurer and just happens to be the grandfather of the main character of this new series, Lumen N. With James Robinson writing, Phil Hester on pencils, Mark Deering inking, Bill Crabtree coloring, and lettering by Jim Campbell, we can be sure that this is going to be as good as it deserves to be. The series takes place in 1901 with 13-year-old Lumen trying to solve the mysteries of her life. Her father has been missing for years. She's being required to learn all sorts of things that no one her age needs to know. A plethora of languages, different forms of fighting, nautical techniques, on and on and on, far beyond her age. Why could she possibly need to know all of that? Well, when she's attacked by a group of steampunk assassins and then saved by none other than her grandfather, Captain Nemo, she learns that she's been in training to help him defeat a sinister masterminds bent on taking over the world. And that is just the beginning of their adventures. The team are all thrilled to be working together in this series, some for the first time, finally. They've been working to try to get together. They got it here. And Phil Hester refers to this as an all-ages project that is well-made enough to appeal to even the most sophisticated audience. It's going to be thrilling, witty, and historical, and it's hitting the shelves on September 3rd, available for pre-order right now for $4.99. The covers, if we go back towards the beginning, the original one is Phil Hester's, then there's Mark Buckingham. Next, we have, there's just the three of them, Duncan Fegredo, Max Fiumara, and Dan Brereton. So, like I said, this is coming out September 3rd. You can order it now. It looks gorgeous. And with that team put together, oh my God, I'm so glad I got this story because this is going to rock. So, yeah, steampunk folks, Dark Horse has got your back.
Nice.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I feel like Phil was hinting at this when he was with us earlier, and I'm sorry. The
And
second
now
I
you
saw
got it.
this, I was like, yes, please, more. Thank you, 2025. What a gift. Because if I know anything about James doing things that are wrapped in historical, any sort of historical story or drama, it's going to just be, oh, I'm so ready.
And Jules Verne, wow, is it steampunk heaven?
Absolutely.
You know, that we're gonna be all happy. All right. So next up,
Yes, let's fucking go. Ultimate Hawkeye, everybody. So if you've been paying attention to Dennis Camp and Juan Frigeri's Ultimates, you saw this version of Hawkeye, aka Charlie Ramsey, who will be starring in their very own adventure, Ultimate Hawkeye issue 1. This is the first solo one-shot of the new Ultimate line. So this will be arriving September. So we saw this character arriving in Ultimate issue 6. So this is one of the new acclaimed series breakout characters who, before being recruited to the Ultimates by Captain America, Charlie was a vigilante defending their people from Roxxon's exploitation. So this is essentially an adventure more revealing more of Hawkeye's history that'll see the expert archer breaking away from the team to embark on a covert mission to take out the Makers single-handedly, which apparently will have a massive impact on the future of this Ultimate Universe. So we're going to see the creative team, which will be revealed in a couple of weeks. So in addition to that, Camp and Frigeri are going to be delivering a framing story that's going to help position this one shot within the Ultimates narrative, which is still ongoing. So you have the cover there by R.B. Silva. This is coming out in September, and we're going to talk about it more as it more gets along, because everything Ultimates has been putting out, pretty much for the most part, has been amazing. So, fuck yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. There's really not much I can say.
Ultimates.
Okay, next up, I believe, is me.
Mm-hmm.
So another book coming out in September. Marvel's going to be pulling out all the stops for this milestone issue of Doctor Strange, number 450. So it's going to be a giant-sized celebration that brings together an incredible creative dream team. So you've got Derek Landy, who's been killing it on the current Doctor Strange run. He's teaming up with absolute legends of strange storytelling, Roger Stern, J. Michael Straczynski. And if you know your Strange history, Stern gave us the classics like The Shadow of Doom. That arc, while JMS brought us the incredible mystical noir feel to his run. So the art lineup is impressive with Ron Lim, Ivan Fiorelli, and Christian Ward is making his Marvel writing debut on this for a story, and he's also going to be drawing as well. So Ward's been doing some absolutely gorgeous covers lately, and it's going to be cool to see him actually take on some of the actual interior work as well. So taking a look at the actual synopsis, Stephen's quest to become Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard is currently unfolding, a key development in the One World Under Doom event. Doctor Strange number 450, Landy will continue to explore the fantastical new direction for Strange and reveal a glimpse of what comes next. As turmoil seizes Asgard, Doctor Strange's life is about to change forever. But as he stands on the threshold of a true journey into mystery, it turns out the past isn't quite done with him yet. So Derek Landy says, for 62 years, Stephen Strange has guided readers through the magical realms of Marvel, steering us from one mind-bending horror to the next. As a writer, to be given a chance to turn the tables, to be a port of this milestone issue, and within it to steer the good doctor towards the dark adventures that await him, is a thrill beyond measure. So Doctor Strange number 450 hits shops this September 3rd, and it's going to have a very special cover by Lionel Francis Yu, which you're seeing right now.
He does such good work.
Yeah, the man is again like among the artists who just, again, they can draw a rock and it would sell like thousands of copies. You know, rock cover. And I'll be like, yeah, no, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
very straight up style.
100%.
Nails it every time.
And if you ever get a chance to meet him, I met him once. He is the most pleasant person in the world, and he loves meeting fans, and he loves seeing books that are well read. I had him sign my Secret Invasion ages ago, and he was just like, "Oh, I love that. You know, this is so well weathered. You really love this." And I was like, "Yeah, man, this was fucking amazing." You know. And I've been following him ever since him and Bendis were doing, I think it was New Avengers, and he just every issue killed it. So just hands down.
That was something that Sir Terry Pratchett was all about when he was live, signing books, but he preferred, rather than signing the pristine edition, he loved it if people brought with them the book that had been dropped in the tub 3 times, had some wine poured on it, and like a banana stuck to the back or something. It just was like, you know, like the loved books were the ones that he really enjoyed being able to sign. So these weren't comic books, because if you drop that into the tub 3 times, it wouldn't exist anymore. But yeah.
But the banana on the back, like, is it taped with duct tape?
No, it's a Discworld reference. Here at the Discworld series, but like 38 volumes or so of that. And there's the librarian at the Wizard University is an orangutan. And he also, Terry Pratchett, while he was still alive, was all about like, he originally put down, I love banana daiquiris. And like every single con he went to, anytime he was out in public, people kept buying him banana daiquiris. So he finally was like, I hate fucking banana daiquiris. Like, they were so good until I told you all about them, and now you've ruined them for me. So, yeah, that was the banana reference. But
Well,
I love you.
no bananas here, but maybe a peel. Sorry. Next up, I think this is you, Carrie.
Yeah. Okay. So, August 27th, Skybound Entertainment is going to be bringing us the latest in their Universal Monsters line, Universal Monsters: The Invisible Man. This is written by horror master James Tynion and illustrated by Donnie, Dani. I'm not sure. It's all caps. Tynion has already contributed to this Universal Monsters series with his Dracula earlier with Martin Simmons that won him awards. Martin, that is. And so far, all of the Universal Monster books have been a new twist on old stories. In this book, they aren't telling us much yet, but the main character, Jack Griffin, who already feels as though he's invisible to everyone, gets a chance to actually become invisible. However, this doesn't really make him happy as he had hoped. Instead, he begins spiraling into insanity and a loss of humanity. So they aren't giving us much to go on. There's a bit of interior art and the various covers, but look forward to this. Once again, like I said, August 27th, it's going to be released. And Tynion can do no wrong. Like,
He can't. He
no,
can't.
I'm not even mad when he gets behind on some of his projects, because I would rather have it come out late and be the best that he can do. And I know that that's the feel with him. This I know is something that's going to be on a schedule, but some of his other stuff is on his own schedule. But he always gives his best, and his best is always brilliant. So look forward to this, folks, and I can't wait to see what other Universal Monsters characters we're going to be getting. We're kind of running out, but I'm sure we can get a few more.
Is Godzuki one of them?
Get out of here.
Okay, I haven't done it yet.
Get out of here. Oh my God. Listen, Leah,
I use it for an armrest.
I can't. All right. Is there more? I feel like
There's you.
I forgot. I'm sorry. I was like, wait a second. I feel like I'm forgetting something. So this is super exciting because due to popular demand, Frank Castle is back. This September, Punisher Red Band, 5-issue limited series written by Deadpool Wolverine's Benjamin Percy with art by Julius Arthur, the duo that's currently delivering such horror delights in Helverine. This is going to be polybagged for explicit content. This is probably promised to be one of the most violent Punisher in history. As Frank Castle, who's now freshly resurrected, back in his classic costume, is allowed to fully unleash his signature brand of justice on the criminal underworld. So the official description is: true believers, Frank Castle is back with no memories, a full clip, and a thirst for wrathful vengeance. His violent search for answers, which could only be chronicled in a Red Band series, will see bullets flying, blood flowing, and the citizens and criminals of New York will fear the name The Punisher. So, Ben Percy had nothing but great things to say about Frank being back in black, but that he's going to push the limits of his genres. I think he talked something about hairy psychopaths. So I was like, wow, this is going to be gritty, as bloody as it gets. Amazing. And on top of it, with all this fantastic artwork, there was a gorgeous cover by Marco Cicchetto, who I remember just killing it on Greg Rucka's run of the Punisher back in the day. You also had, following that, you had EM Gist cover, and then, of course, a hidden gem variant by industry legend Mark Zack. So, hands down, this looks absolutely amazing and will be on sale September 10th. So, Frank is back. Everybody hide.
You knew
that
he was
Mark
going
Zack
to be back.
cover.
Mhm.
That Mark Zack cover is what I think of. Nicolas Cage looks. That's kind of a him in my head. I don't know.
You need to watch more Nicolas Cage movies.
No, I don't. But it. I also, if we go to the interiors, just that last page on the interiors, that's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, it
I
is.
mean, it's just a guy crawling, but the just the way the blood works. I mean, I know that the red bands aren't, people are like, oh, it's a red band, and it does have to be covered up. It's a little bit more gory. They aren't always as over crazy as it could be, but that's just that blood spatter is so pretty. I'm gonna be reading some Punisher, which I've never been against him. It's just I don't always really get into the like, oh, I'm in the middle of all these other things. I should get the Punisher in me. But yeah.
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's all the news. So,
Okay.
I mean, so you know what time it is.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is there a I thought we had an image for it. Yeah, it is. It's not is I need to make
Yeah.
a generic.
Yes.
So you're not going to sing a song, Carrie?
No. Shut up! Take my money and run. Woo, woo, woo. Go on, Kickstarter and fund. Woo, woo. All right. No, actually, Leo, first I am opening up.
You lied.
You read the
I
show
asked you what was going to be first.
when we got into the buying ones, that if you read the notes, it says what I'm doing first is I am opening up my Carissa Grant / Worthy Chaos issue number 2 of Devastation for Western comic that it's a supernatural Western comic, and I got this, and I'm so excited about this. Oh my god! Okay, so this is the basic cover. It's with interior. It's by Mateus Duarte and colored by Fernando Cordero with letters by SK. This is the comic book that comes with. Along with the package that I got, it had all of the different digital versions of every single cover coming with it. It also came with this really fun sticker of a crow and this double-sided crow bookmark. And just in case there wasn't enough, this crow plushie. She
Oh my
actually,
God.
yes. Carissa set up for me. By the way, this is what happens if you follow somebody enough times and you make friends, and especially with Carissa because she's very, very, very good at this. She set up that tier specifically for me. I got a secret code to go to Kickstarter and look it up on, and she set up a tier for me to make sure I could get that plushie and not have it be sold out. She just set it aside for me. So yeah, if you follow Kickstarter creators enough and you let them know your preferences, you too can have somebody set you up a special tier all your own, just so you can get something. I love this. Like, I don't want to put it away. I'm just like, it's my own plushy demon crow, and it's so soft. And like, this is super high quality, guys. It's like the softest, super squishy thick, like not, I mean, you can't squeeze into it. It's just, I think I'm going to keep this in bed with me now. It's going to be my best friend. But yeah, so Carissa, I will keep you guys posted all the time, but keep your eye out. Just mark her as a creator to follow on Kickstarter, Carissa Grant, aka Worthy Chaos Comics. She puts out some great stuff, and Devastation. She's having so much fun doing this and releasing the books, all the extra stuff, and I talk about her all the time. You guys have seen all of her stuff.
Of course.
So go and follow her. So take it off of me being big. I don't want to be big anymore. We are going to now go check out the Kickstarters that I want you guys to see, starting off with Bigfoot Knows Karate. Who the fuck does not want to see Bigfoot Knows Karate? Okay.
I don't know who they are.
Seriously. Okay, so we're going to be having these folks over at Homebrewed Comics later on July 22nd. This Kickstarter is done by Dan Price from Homebrewed Comics. It's Bigfoot Knows Karate, chapters 1 through 3. And here we follow the adventures of a Bigfoot warrior caught in a web of monsters, machinations, and dark secrets. It's like Godzilla versus Kong meets Kill Bill. This project will be funded if it reaches its goal by Friday, June 13th, 2025 at 7 p.m. So you have about 17 days to get here. And basically, Bigfoot Knows Karate follows a gentle cryptid warrior as he finds his world out of balance, quickly finding his role change from defender to the hunted. Being tracked by fierce kaiju and a mysterious agency, Bigfoot must go from an elusive, lonely soul to someone surrounded by enemies tracking his every breath. It's written by Casey T. Allen and Dan Price, with art by Dan Price. The covers are by Dan Price, Louis Thomas, Ghost House, and Adam Caswell. The deluxe editions, which are digital, are going to be a whopping 48 pages. It includes 38 pages of the story, as well as a pinup gallery with art by Instagram's Killer Drawing Collective, The Old Contenders, and a director's commentary video keeping in tradition with the previous issues. Deluxe editions to this issue will be square bound, not saddle stitched. Okay, this right here, I'm going to skip down. It's a tier that I've never seen something like this before. This is a $450 tier. Most of them are a lot lower in price than this, but you get this championship pack. You want to be the Bigfoot Knows Karate Fiend Club champion? Let's do it. Get this killer champion belt. It weighs 6 pounds. It is metal, not plastic, and simulated leather, featuring the Bigfoot Knows Karate graphics on the main side, plus plates, along with the title you receive. All 4 covers, as well as Hellhound on My Trail, signed by Dan Price. All books are signed by, all of them are signed by Dan Price. And you also get the digital copy and 2 mini prints. Basically, all of the different rewards go from $4 to $450, which that is a $450. But most are below the $40 range. They're pretty much the digital and physical editions and catch-ups for both series in the publishing house. All physical tiers, excepting the Homebrewed Comic Starter Pack, include a Homebrewed number 0 coupon code. Now, what this is the Homebrewed guys are old school Image fans. And to prove that, they've ripped off old school Image in a big way with their upcoming website exclusive comic, Homebrewed number 0, which is a 36-page holofoil comic with original stories featuring Crit, Caspian Porter, and Bigfoot Knows Karate, The Celestial Knight, and a special story by Mo Lubison. The holofoil exclusive will be limited to 200 units. Now, if you back all 3 of the campaigns that are going to be on Kickstarter, this is the first. I'm going to be showing you Crit next, and Caspian will be launching soon. You will get these different coupons. Then you go ahead and go on their website, and there's a little way to go around it, but you end up entering all the coupon codes, and you'll be able to go ahead and get a copy of this comic. So yeah, basically, the rest of the add-ons, you can get the physical back issues of 1 through 3 and Hinagan, which this is kind of a cool.
Yeah, that is pretty
Sorry.
cool.
Yeah. Sorry. The Hinagan is a one-shot story that takes place with Bigfoot in like Japanese samurai culture.
Mhm.
But you basically get all those in the t-shirt. Those are the add-ons. That's the campaign. It's pretty simple and straightforward. The kind of merging everything together is a little odd, but it works. It's a way to get everybody together. It's a limited thing, and all you have to do is be a physical backer. So, but you have to back a couple things, and
Okay.
the artwork on that looks so cool too. I thought it was just killer. So next, and this one, I'm sorry, we last week ended up having off, so I'm a little behind on getting some of these up. But you only have 3 days left on this one. This is also by Homebrew. This is another one that if you go ahead and become a physical backer of it, you will get the coupon that you need to cash in on the big one. This is Crit, He Who Would Be King. Crit is entering its 5th year with issue 8, He Who Would Be King, along with remastered version issues of numbers 1 and 5. The project is done in, like I said, in 3 days. And basically what you're going to do here, Chris Saloff and Homebrew Comics bring you Crit, where step into a contemporary fantasy world where the mundane and the extraordinary collide in a whirlwind of chaos and adventure. Crit, constantly running into trouble, is an action-packed comic series that follows a team of friends turned heroes as they navigate a treacherous landscape, gaining incredible abilities at work and battling powerful enemies who seek to plunge their world into eternal darkness. Inspired by a modern homebrewed tabletop game based on a popular fantasy role-playing game, Crit takes the thrilling adventures of this group and transcribes them directly into comic form, capturing the essence of their unpredictable and chaotic antics panel by panel. From epic battles against ancient evils to clashes with malevolent robots and confrontations with newfound powerful enemies forged by wicked beings, every page brims with danger, excitement, and unrelenting humor. Our protagonists, armed with their newfound abilities, stumble through a world teeming with mythical beings, magical artifacts, and political intrigue, but they are far from the polished heroes found in traditional tales. Instead, they are a merry band of misfits, prone to hilarious mishaps and impulsive decisions. As they face each threat, they quickly learn that victory is never guaranteed, and even the best laid plans can crumble in the face of chaos. Crit. When trouble finds them, mayhem ensues. Okay, so right off the bat with this one, you can download issue 0 free, so you can go and see if this is your kind of comic. The rewards here range from $3 to $175, most of them being $20 or less. The digital deluxe edition is included with all physical tiers. Their collections, including a metal collection for $175 that comes with all 4 physical covers, a metal cover with a physical deluxe cover by Louise Thomas, issues 1 and 5 remastered, 4 mini prints, the exclusive t-shirts, 5 Crit rock glasses, homebrew comic bookmarks, and a deluxe PDF. As far as the add-ons go, as you just saw, the other covers, all of the other covers, back issues, the rock glasses, bookmarks, a trade paperback of volume 1, which is issues 0 through 5, the Homebrew Comics issue number 1 bundle that has issue 1 Bigfoot Knows Karate, Crit, and Caspian Porter Celestial Knight, and those t-shirts. And they do actually include 2 different sets of t-shirts for those from small to extra large to 2X up to 4X. So they're covering a larger group than a lot of people do with some of those. And go ahead and look up the Caspian. It's linked in all of them. Scroll too far. I just eeped and then I heard myself and it was weird. Celestial Knight versus Caspian Porter has not been launched yet, but that is the third one you need to connect to if you want to get all of the different coupons. They all go together, and we are going to have all of these creators on in July, and they have told me that they have some brand new news that they're going to be sharing with us. So we're going to kind of get an exclusive going there. So yeah, hop on. You can check out some of the comics. They're very cheap. Some of the digitals you can get for $3. You know, check them out. It's worth looking into. Some of them you get the free previews, and it's just going to be some great fun stuff coming up from everything that I've seen and from what I've met of them. So yeah, and that covers Carrie's Kickstarters.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, I got a crow. I got to show some stuff off. We're going to have some amazing guests on that we're showing some stuff off for. So how's everybody doing tonight? Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Good?
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay.
No. I feel like I'm getting peer pressured. I'm good.
You sure about
Good?
that, Drew?
You're okay.
I don't know. Okay, can we end the show?
How
Goddamn.
you doing? Jesus Christ, Drew, can we have a minute? Just say hi.
Fine. Okay, fine. You know what? Fine.
Hi.
Oh, God. Take your goddamn minute.
Take my minute and run with my money from my Kickstarters that I spent all my money on. I got another cardboard box. It's going to add to the layering of my outdoor shelter that I'm building. Seriously, like in the middle of the show, I got a text from my mother. You got another package. It's from Las Vegas. It says don't bend. It's flat. I think it's a comic. Like, probably.
I was asked to slow down my my eBay buying on comics.
I wonder why.
I'm not gonna say what I found a way to cheat. So I'm gonna watch myself because I really spent a lot for the past couple of months. But I've covered that. Hey Raz! Yay! But
I know this is absolutely dorky, but
you had a bunch of stuff. I want to know.
Of the comics. Well,
you
actually,
you're like, look, Scott, I bought things, and you're like falling over.
Yeah,
holding them.
He's got to share. He's got to validate. He's got to have validation from some other source. You know,
I will validate because Leo buys cool shit.
Yeah, but it's
I'm
a lot.
jelly.
Well, I haven't been to my LCS in a while, and my pull list got pretty big. But it's like Absolute Wonder Woman, with Absolute Batman, a bunch of issues of those, a bunch of issues of Batman and Robin. I had to grab this issue of Supergirl #1.
Oh, that's super cute.
Yeah.
Why aren't you? I'm gonna big screen you so we can actually see what you're showing.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I'll go back to that Supergirl because it was an awesome cover.
It looked adorbs. Oh
yeah. Yeah.
You got like a Wonder Woman belt going on.
Yeah. I did a ton of Batman and Robin. Mark Waid's run of Action Comics.
Nice.
I forgot this is a weekly book, so I got a ton of those. Bunch of the Transformers. I didn't realize I threw the new JSA on my pull list. So I have those. Mark Waid's World's Finest. Batman and Robin. Yeah, it's literally, I don't know, like 60 books I got here.
Holy
crazy.
Shit.
Yeah, I haven't been to my LCS in a little bit. Oh, hold on. He did throw in something really cool. The Hush, Lee Bermejo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait. Last episode, it was like, hush, hush, hurry, hurry, comics come to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It was not a hush.
Is it Hattush?
Hatouche.
Hatouche. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a bunch of copies of that as well. Yeah, Hatouche.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, you guys want to call it a day?
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. I
Drew's
want to
like,
thank
can I go?
I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. For me, you know how to find me, but more importantly, check out some of the awesome other stuff I do. I do with Justin and Brandon, Comics Paradox and The Dork Knight. Also, check out our YouTube page for splash pages. If you're not subscribed, please do. We throw a lot of extra content up there. If you don't have a chance to check the live show, we chop it up and we'll throw in special episodes there. And yeah, that's about it. What about you, Carrie?
Hey, when I'm not hanging out with you lovely gents, I'm either reading, playing weird games on my phone all of a sudden, or drinking with my squirrel. I'm also over on the Owlite Network. We are currently we're kind of off and on. We're having a summer of adjustments going on. Everybody kind of, like I said before, has moved around a bit. So we have organization going on. But yeah, catch me doing stuff. I'm hoping to be making a couple cons pretty soon. OCon is coming up at the end of July and just pitched a panel. So hopefully that'll be going on. And yeah, just look me up at Carrie Sanders on Facebook, just like that. If you see a crow looks really judgmental, that is me. And you can find the things that I've written and follow me. And if you're bored and you want to chat, send me a message. I'll check you out. But that's me. Let's go to Drew.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a great show today, tomorrow. If you need to chat with me, I'm Drew Malo on Facebook, especially 1984 on Instagram, also Drew Malo on Blue Sky. I'm here every Tuesday, unless I'm not. And there's a lot of other things I'm working on, general things and overall exhaustion. So if I don't respond to you, I'm probably asleep. Or, I don't know, in a Kryptonian matrix reviving myself. Doomsday shit. So.
Awesome. Oh, with that, catch you later. Bye.
Bye.
Love ya.
See you in June.